Hi, Angie Bowman here with Magnus. So today we're going to go over a shaping exercise. So shaping is a means to teach a dog how to do a trick or an activity. And shaping means we break it down into small parts and we kind of guide the dog to the end result that we want. So we have a water bottle here, and our end result in this activity is we want him to either touch it with his nose and roll it, touch it with his paw and knock it over, or touch it with his mouth and pick it up. Knowing Magnus, he's not a very mouthy dog, so I don't know that we're gonna get touching it with his mouth. Part of shaping is also letting the events kind of happen as they're right for your dog. So we kind of wait and see which way Magnus takes it. All right, so we're gonna start with the bottle, and it's going to be sat right here in the middle, and I'm gonna stare directly at the bottle. I'm gonna click and treat anytime Magnus has any engagement with the bottle at all. All right, so let's get started. Notice that I'm staring directly at the bottle. And that was just an accident. But what happened, because we've shaped before, Magnus is catching on that I want him to engage with the bottle. He's touched it with his paw a couple times. And so he's trying to figure out, is it the paw or the nose? What is it you want me to do with that bottle? He's experimenting right now. Boy. And I'm just letting him experiment and have fun. I'm clicking for any engagement he has with that bottle. And this is allowing him to explore. It's fun because he can actually play and get reinforced. Good. Good boy. So he's already naturally knocking that over. So I'm going to up my criteria and see if I can consistently get him to knock it over. He's staring at me right now because he's like, I thought the game was just me touching it. And I don't want him to get frustrated, so even though he touched it with his nose and didn't knock it over, I want to be able to have lots of clicks in rapid succession. Good boy. Keep his enthusiasm up. See, he tried two different things. Is it this? Is it this? And he keeps looking at me like, what do you want, Mom? So I'm not gonna click the nose touch now. I'm gonna click when he touches with his paw, so that way he learns it has nothing to do with my nose. What's crucial in this exercise is the timing of my click. I could have clicked when his nose touched it or when he touched it with his paw, because they were right after one another. And if my click was fuzzy, if it wasn't exactly precisely timed, he wouldn't know which one I wanted. But because I clicked when his paw touched and not when his nose touched, he's figuring out that it has something to do more with his paw than his nose. Good. Good. So now that he's becoming more engaged, I'm trying to up that criteria and only click when it falls to the ground. And he's catching on. Notice he's hitting it harder. And and we've got 3 in a row. So that's super successful. A great shaping session. And if you saw in that very last one, he touched it, realized that's not going to be good enough, and then knocked it over. So that was almost all 3 shaping sessions built into one, but it's a nice one because you saw it all put together. I'm going to work with him next on pushing it with his nose, and we'll see if we can get him to touch it with his mouth, but I don't know. So, all right, we'll look forward to next time. Okay, we're going to do another session with the bottle. This one, instead of clicking when he touches it with his paw, like we did last time, I'm going to click when he touches it with his nose. So I'm helping him learn with the click that it's his nose that I wanted to do something with the bottle. And then hopefully he'll push it away is what we're going to shape him towards. So this one will take a little bit more probably time so you can see the steps. He's going to hit it with his paw because that's what he learned last. And then he'll try different things. So watch how that goes. Oh, we got lucky. I didn't click there because I want him to do it with his nose. So I ignore that. Oh boy. Just ignore what you don't want. Reinforce what you do want. And he quickly learned, oh, it's with my nose this time. Good boy. Still making sure. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So now he's consistently knocking it over with his nose. So he tried to hit it with his paw, he looked at me, and then he hit it with his nose, and he looked at me. He's checking in with me, is this what you want? And then I clicked when it actually went to the ground, so he's starting to be able to put it together. It is when I knock it over with my nose. Oh boy. Good boy. And you see he put the effort in to get it knocked over? I don't want him to fail more than 2 times, so he tried twice and didn't get it. So I clicked on the 3rd time, even though it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I'm helping keep that enthusiasm up, helping him stay engaged. Good boy. And you see how much quicker he is to respond when he's feeling more confident, when he gets more clicks in rapid succession of one another. His enthusiasm's up. He feels confident. All right, here you go, Magnus. We had some noise outside, so he got a little distracted. And that was me. I misclicked, but I'm giving him a treat anyway. He's still a little distracted with that noise. We're getting him back. He's just a little bit distracted right now, so we're going to take a break so we can kind of relax. This has been a long session, and we'll come back. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to try and get him to push that bottle after it goes down onto the ground. So our first step was him engaging with the bottle. Second step was hitting it with his paw. Third step was knocking it over with his paw. And then now we've changed and we've gone to using his nose. So we stopped clicking, touching it with his paw, and we started clicking, only touching with his nose. And you can see how by the click, we're driving his behavior. He's learning, oh, the click tells me what you want me to do. So on the nose one, he touched it with his nose, and he remembered from the paw that the bottle was being knocked over. So now, next step, he's already, for the interacting with the nose. So he's already knocking it over with his nose. We want to see if we can get him to push it with his nose. So I'm going to leave it laying down in an angle that would be conducive to that. And he's a little confused because I've always had it standing. Good boy. And he naturally pushed it because of the way I set it up. Good boy. Good boy. So there's some noise going on the outside and he keeps getting distracted. And if your dog is not experienced at this kind of thing, any little noise or distraction like that is going to kind of ruin your session. Because I've worked with Magnus a fair amount, he can come back to this pretty quickly. But in general, if there's distractions, just take a break. Take a break and then come back when it's quiet so that your dog can focus. This is very mentally challenging work. Your dog is having to try something, look to you for confirmation. And it's a gigantic puzzle. And the more accurate you are with your clicking, the easier it is for him to figure out the puzzle. So if you're clicking not always at the exact same time, when his nose touches the bottle, if that's what you want, then it's going to be very confusing for him to figure out what you want, and it's going to take more mental energy. The second thing, for a dog that hasn't really done something like this, it can be challenging. It can be stressful, especially if they aren't comfortable experimenting. They don't have a lot of confidence going out there and interacting with new things. So this might move super slowly in the beginning as your dog builds confidence and learns the game. So your first sessions might be super boring and you might only get 1 to 5 clicks. That's okay. Keep those sessions short, no more than 3 to 5 minutes, and give your dog breaks, lots of breaks. When you see your dog start to yawn, lick their lips, walk away, look at other things, that's a signal that they're stressed out, they're mentally tired, they need a break. Give them a break. Even if it's just throw the ball a couple times or wander around and give them some snuggles, that helps a lot. Then you can come back and try again, okay? So we just clicked Magnus for pushing the bottle with his nose. We're gonna see if we can put the two together, which is pushing it over with his nose and then pushing it on the ground with his nose. So let's see what we get. He touched it with his nose. I wanna wait and see what he'll do. Good boy. So I backtracked a little bit because we changed it up. Good boy. When you make something harder, go back a little bit so they can figure it out. And then I'm gonna wait now and see if he'll push it. Good. So now we're gonna see if we can do those things in more succession. He looked at me like, why didn't you stand it up? I thought the game was standing it up. Good boy. He was confused because I didn't click. And that's because I'm asking for some more criteria. He's got the bottle pushing. And that happened naturally just with the slope of the floor. So I'm kind of setting him up right now. I'm moving the bottle in an angle that he can push it with his nose, but he'll start to associate those two actions pretty quick. I misclicked there, and that's okay. Accidents happen on both our parts, right? I'm not clicking him pushing it down. Yes, I was waiting for that to happen, which was he pushed it down and then tried to roll it. Even though it was in a horrible angle and it didn't roll well, he's figuring out I want him to knock it over and push it. Good boy. So in just those few practice sessions, he's figured out, knock it over with his nose and push it. Pretty fun. Good boy. All done. All done. So I hope you enjoyed those two, the knock it over with the paw and the knock it over with his nose and push it. Like I said, we will try and see if he'll mouth it, but I don't think my dog will mouth it. Hopefully, if you have a mouthy dog, that will be an option for you. All right, take care. Bye. Hi, Angie here with Gunther. I've switched dogs. Gunther's not as experienced at shaping as Magnus, so we'll see what we get him to do. So when you're shaping with a new dog, you want a very quiet environment, little to no distractions. You want a smaller space so the dog doesn't have a lot else to focus on. And take into account your dog has probably never done anything like this before, and they don't know what you want. So it usually starts off really slowly. So we just click and treat for any interest, any engagement your dog has with the object. And in this case, it's going to be a water bottle. So I might not talk as much just because Gunther's not as comfortable and I might distract him. So let's see what happens. He kind of engaged with it. He looked at it a little bit. I'm just getting him to look at it because he's not as confident with shaping, but I'm staring right at the object so he knows what it is. Good. He probably might have pawed it if I would have waited. He's not as confident as Magnus, so I'm clicking all of these little baby steps. Anything where he kind of glances at it, I'm gonna click. And this is gonna look a lot more like what your dog might do. It's gonna go a lot slower. And I missed that look. He looked at the bottle and I missed it. And if it goes too long, he's gonna get bored and lose interest. So I might help him out a little bit. I kind of drew more attention to it. Good boy. Right now, all Gunther's learning is, you want me to do something with that object. And then now he moved his nose closer. He's like, okay. He still needs some help trying to figure it out. Good. He kind of pawed at it, not with a lot of enthusiasm. It's more like, is this what you want me to do? And a more passive dog, this might be the movements they make. They might be really slow, really subtle. Good. He pawed towards me, which is usually his indication of wanting help. And then he nosed towards the bottle. So I clicked right when his nose went towards the bottle. Good. And that paw, one kind of went my way, the other one went towards the bottle, and I clicked that one. So these are very slight, very subtle movements, but they're directing him to get more and more engaged with this bottle. That's what we want. And it does start off super slow and super subtle. And this might be what an entire session 1 looks like for you. At any point where your dog kind of drifts away, starts looking at other things, then take a break, especially at this beginning part. Oh boy. So Gunther's losing a little bit. He's losing a little bit of focus. I can tell when he starts to get a little tired. It's harder for him because I'm talking, and that's more mentally exhausting for him because he's like, why are you talking? When you do this with your dog, I don't want you to talk. I want you to be calm, quiet, and just watch the object with your dog in your peripheral and click and treat, because all of this extra is distracting for your dog. So we're gonna wrap up session 1 right there. We had some noises going around the environment, and Gunther's, I'm hitting his threshold, his point of getting tired and getting bored with it. This is getting hard for me. I'm having to think too hard. I need a break. We're gonna take a break, play a little bit, and then we'll do another session. Hi, we're back. So we took like a 2-minute break. We snuggled, we played, we were a little silly. We got to just let off some stress, because this is very stressful. This is very mentally exhausting. Just kind of like if you were in school doing math homework. You just want to take a 5-minute break, walk around, clear your head, and then come back. It's a lot easier to think if you just take a little mini break in between your sessions. So let's see what happens on the second session of Gunther with the water bottle. We've got some noises going on outside, and that's what he's listening to. If you remember the last session, he wasn't consistently touching it with his nose. He is now. He's not touching it a lot with his nose. And I still have water in the bottle left over from when Magnus had it, because Magnus is a little more bold. Gunther's a little more timid, shy. It's gonna make more noise with water in the bottle, and it's gonna be harder for the bottle to tip. So start with an empty bottle, and that way it moves more, your dog gets acclimated to the noise. Just patiently wait. So that one took a long time for him to get there, and then he eventually did. I waited him out to help build some impulse control, some self-control for Gunther, to increase that expectation of him. Like, we're still working, but as soon as he was successful, I clicked and treated, and we're gonna end the session. Like, I can tell he's already kind of at his mental threshold, and I don't wanna push him too far where it's not fun or it's overly tiring, because then it's not fun for him to do this exercise. We always want it to be fun. We want them to be excited. Think about anything you do. If it's fun, if you do it too long, it gets to be tiring, exhausting. So what we did on our second session was repeat the skills from the first session. And based on how Gunther is at shaping, we might do this 2, 3, 4 times. After he's built more confidence, he will then, just like Magnus, start to more strongly push that bottle with his nose or his paw. He might start to experiment with it. Right now he's only touching it with his nose. He might start to touch it with his paw. And that's what we're looking for, is slowly allowing them to experiment, to gain confidence in interacting with it. And we just sit calmly and let them play and let them experiment. And this helps them build self-confidence. It helps them calm themselves down. It helps them think through problems. So there's a lot of benefits to exercises like this. And it helps a lot if you have a calm, quiet environment and you let your dog think and give them the time and the space to work through problems. Helps them learn and grow and emotionally mature. So I hope you've enjoyed this session with Gunther. He's tired. Yeah, we'll see you soon.